Only 5 out of every 100 people over the age of 70 can still do 5 basic things. Just 5. Not Olympic-level feats, not mountain climbing or marathon running. Simple, fundamental movements that, when lost, quietly mark the beginning of decline. Now let me ask you this, are you one of the 5 or the 95? I'm not here to inspire you, I'm here to challenge you, because this isn't about numbers. It's about what you're willing to do with the years ahead. Aging isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you participate in every day. And while you can't control the passage of time, you can control how you meet it. Some people believe the body simply falls apart because the calendar flips to another year. But what if that belief is the very thing holding you back? What if your strength, your balance, your independence, they're not gone, just dormant, waiting to be reawakened? In this video, I'll show you 5 things that only the strongest, most resilient seniors can still do after 70. These are not just exercises, they are signals, markers, indicators that your body is still in the game. And here's the good news. Even if you can't do them now, you can start training today. So if you care about living longer, not just in years, but in quality of life, stay with me. And if this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to our channel. We're building a space for people who refuse to age quietly. Let's find out what these 5 indicators are and why mastering them could change the course of your life after 70. Action number 1, stand up from the floor without using your hands. It sounds simple, almost too simple. Stand up from the floor without using your hands. And yet, this single movement is one of the strongest predictors of how long you will live, and more importantly, how well you will live. Think about it. When was the last time you sat down on the floor and tried to stand back up using only your legs? No grabbing a chair, no pushing off your knees, just your own strength, coordination, and balance. For most people over 70, it's not only difficult, it's nearly impossible. And yet, it's one of the most important things your body should be able to do. Why is this movement so critical? Because it requires a full body effort. Your quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and core muscles all have to work in harmony. Your nervous system has to communicate clearly and quickly. Your joints, hips, knees, and ankles need to be mobile and stable. Your sense of balance, your cardiovascular fitness, even your flexibility are all tested in one moment. According to a study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, people who cannot sit and rise from the floor without using support are 5 to 6 times more likely to die within 6 years compared to those who can do it successfully. That's not just correlation. That's causation staring us in the face. And let's pause and let that sink in. Your ability to move from the ground to standing is more than just a sign of strength. It's a measure of how well your entire body is functioning, your muscles, bones, nerves, circulation, and reflexes. It's not a task, it's a diagnostic tool. Now here's what most people don't realize. You can train this, no matter your age. Muscle does not retire. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, doesn't vanish when you turn 70. Your body is still capable of growth, adaptation, and improvement, but only if you give it a reason to. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 79. 2 years ago, she fell in her garden and couldn't get back up. Her son had to come lift her off the ground. That moment haunted her, not because she got hurt, but because she felt helpless. So she made a decision. Every morning, with the help of a sturdy chair, she practiced sitting down on a yoga mat and getting up again. At first, it took both hands and all her willpower, but she kept going. Now she can stand up with no support, steady and strong. And that confidence has rippled into every area of her life, from walking alone in the park to dancing at her granddaughter's wedding. That's the power of reclaiming a primal movement. If you want to test yourself, try this. Sit down cross-legged on the floor. Now try to stand up without putting your hands on the floor, your knees, or any support. If you can do it, great, keep training it. If you can't, don't panic. That's your starting point. And the best time to begin is now. Start by lowering yourself with control. Use a yoga mat, a cushion, even a couch behind you for safety. Once down, shift weight to one knee, bring a foot forward, and push through your leg. Do it slowly, repeatedly, with intention. Over time, your body will respond. Remember, the floor is not your enemy. It's your proving ground. It's where we played as children, where we knelt to pray, and where, for many, the struggle with aging becomes terrifyingly real. Reclaiming the ability to rise from the floor is not just about strength. It's about saying, I am still here, I still have control. Because one day, when you need it most, that strength could save your life. Action number 2, walk for 10 minutes without stopping. It may not sound like much, just 10 minutes, no hills, no stairs, no speed records, just walking, uninterrupted. Yet your ability to walk continuously for 10 minutes without pain, shortness of breath, or the need to stop is one of the most reliable indicators of your overall health after 70. Walking is often underestimated. We treat it like a passive activity, something we do to get from one room to another. But after 70, walking becomes a window into your cardiovascular endurance, joint mobility, muscle coordination, and even your mental sharpness. When you can no longer walk for 10 straight minutes, something deeper is changing inside your body, and it deserves attention. A 2021 report by Harvard Health Publishing emphasized that walking just 10 minutes a day can reduce your risk of premature death by up to 20%, particularly if you walk briskly. That's not an hour at the gym. That's one trip around your block, one stroll through a grocery store without grabbing the cart for support. Why does this simple task matter so much? Because walking is a full-body symphony. Your lungs have to take in enough oxygen. Your heart must pump efficiently. Your muscles need endurance. Your joints need flexibility. And your brain has to maintain rhythm, coordination, and balance. The act of walking pulls together every major system in your body and exposes their weaknesses if something's off. Let me introduce you to Lucille. She's 81 and lives alone in a small apartment complex. A year ago, she noticed she had to pause halfway down the hall to catch her breath. It scared her. She used to be the woman who never stopped moving, gardening, cooking, helping neighbors. That day, she realized her world was shrinking because her endurance was disappearing. But Lucille didn't give in. She started setting a timer for 5 minutes, then 6, then upped. Now, every morning, she walks 10 minutes down the sidewalk and back, no breaks. No panic. She says it's not just her body that feels stronger, it's her sense of freedom. You don't need to train for a race. You need to train for your independence. If walking for 10 minutes sounds too easy, try walking and talking at the same time. Call a friend, recite a poem, or name 10 cities you've visited. Multitasking while walking helps improve cognitive function, gait stability, and fall prevention. 3 areas that begin to decline silently as we age. And if you need to start smaller, that's okay. Walk for 5 minutes today, try 6 tomorrow. Use a timer, track your progress. Let each step be a declaration. I'm not sitting still. Remember, after 70, walking is not just an exercise. It's a life skill. It's how you shop, how you see your doctor, how you move through your home and your life. Lose it, and everything else becomes harder. Protect it, and everything else becomes possible. So lace up your shoes, go outside, and walk like your life depends on it, because in many ways it truly does. Action number 3, maintain a strong grip, hold and carry 10 pounds. It starts quietly. One day, opening a stubborn jar becomes frustrating. Carrying a full grocery bag feels heavier than usual. Holding onto a railing for balance feels less secure. What you're noticing isn't just a nuisance, it's one of the earliest, most telling signs of functional decline. Reduced grip strength. Grip strength is not just about your hands, it's a reflection of your overall muscle health, nervous system efficiency, and frailty risk. In fact, researchers have found that grip strength is so predictive of mortality that it's often used in clinical studies as a surrogate marker for lifespan and health span. According to a large-scale study published in the BMJ, for every 5 kilogram decrease in grip strength, The risk of death from all causes increases by 16%. That includes heart disease, stroke, and even cancer. Think about that. Something as seemingly minor as your ability to squeeze or lift a small object can tell us what's happening throughout your entire body. Why is grip strength so important? Because it connects to everything. If you can't grip confidently, you're less likely to cook for yourself, clean your home, carry your laundry, or even hold onto a walker safely. A weak grip means reduced independence, greater fall risk, and ultimately, greater reliance on others. And that's a slippery slope. Let me tell you about Curtis. At 74, he lived alone and prided himself on being self-sufficient. One afternoon, while preparing lunch, he dropped a glass dish, not because he was clumsy, but because he couldn't hold it securely. That moment startled him. He'd always been strong, but when he tried squeezing a stress ball later that day, he realized how much strength he had lost. It didn't happen overnight, it crept up on him. Instead of giving in, Curtis made a plan. He started simple, squeezing a tennis ball while watching TV and using light dumbbells for wrist curls, and opening jars instead of relying on gadgets. After a few weeks, he moved on to resistance bands and carrying 2 10-pound bags of rice from the kitchen to the hallway and back. Now, not only can he open stubborn containers, but he's also confident holding on to railings, carrying groceries, and supporting himself when needed. You don't need a gym, you need intentional resistance. Start by testing yourself. Can you carry a 10-pound bag in each hand for 1 minute without setting them down? If not, work up to it. Practice wrist rolls with light weights, hang from a bar if your shoulders allow, or do fingertip taps against resistance putty. And here's a bonus. Increasing grip strength has also been associated with better cognitive function and slower brain aging. Your brain and body are not separate, they are a team. When one weakens, the other feels it. But when one strengthens, the other follows. So let your hands be your message to the world. I'm still capable. I'm still strong. I still hold on. Because the power to hold on to a railing, to a boa, to your independence, is the power to keep living life on your own terms. Action number 4, balance on one leg for 10 seconds. It sounds easy, almost trivial. Stand on one leg for 10 seconds. Most people assume they can do it without even thinking. But try it now. No support, no leaning. Just one leg, 10 full seconds. If you find yourself wobbling, reaching for something, or putting your foot down before the time is up, your body may be warning you that your balance system is weakening. And that matters more than you might think. After age 70, falls are the leading cause of serious injury, loss of independence, and even death among older adults in the United States. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls each year, and those who fall once are twice as likely to fall again. But here's the more subtle truth. Many of those falls don't happen suddenly. They happen because the body's balance mechanisms, vision, inner ear, muscle coordination, proprioception, have quietly deteriorated over time. Standing on one leg is not just a parlor trick. It's a neuromuscular test. It tells you whether your brain, muscles, joints, and reflexes are communicating clearly and reacting quickly. Harvard researchers have noted that an inability to stand on one leg for 10 seconds is linked with a higher risk of mortality within the following 7 years, even when accounting for other health factors. Let that sink in. When your balance fades, your world shrinks. You stop walking as far. You avoid stairs. You reach for walls. You feel nervous in the shower. You hesitate in the kitchen. And little by little, you give up the small freedoms that once made life joyful. But just like strength and endurance, balance can be trained. Let me tell you about Nathaniel. At 73, he considered himself steady until he fell one night while stepping out of the bathtub. He wasn't seriously injured, but the fall shattered his confidence. His daughter insisted on installing grab bars, but Nathaniel wanted more than safety. He wanted to trust his body again. So he began training his balance every day in his own quiet way. He practiced standing on one foot while brushing his teeth. At first, just 5 seconds, then 8. Eventually, he could stand for over 30 seconds, eyes closed. The fear faded. His confidence returned. Here's how you can start. Stand behind a sturdy chair. Lift 1 foot an inch off the ground. Hold it there. Try for 10 seconds. If you wobble, use your hand for light support, but aim to reduce your reliance each day. Do it with both legs. Add variations. Try turning your head side to side or closing your eyes, but only when you're safe. Once confident, progress to standing on a softer surface like a folded towel. And remember, balance training isn't just physical, it's neurological. Every time you correct a wobble, your brain rewires. You build faster reflexes. You create new patterns. You restore a system that age tries to dismantle. Most importantly, you take back control of your body's direction, literally and metaphorically. Because when you can stand your ground, even on one leg, you're telling the world, I may be aging, but I am not tipping over. Not today. Action number 5, getting up every morning with a reason to live. There's a kind of strength that doesn't come from muscles. It doesn't show up in how far you can walk, how long you can balance, or how many pounds you can lift. It's quieter than that, yet infinitely more powerful. It's the strength of purpose. The reason you swing your legs over the side of the bed in the morning and decide, once again, to keep going. After 70, that reason becomes everything. Studies from institutions like Harvard Health have shown that seniors who have a clear sense of purpose live longer, healthier lives. They're more likely to stay active, more likely to engage socially, and less likely to suffer from depression, cognitive decline, or chronic illness. It's not just what you do, it's why you do it. And for many older adults, losing that why is what begins the real decline. We often talk about exercise, sleep, nutrition, balance, but we rarely talk about hope, about goals, about meaning. And yet, without them, everything else becomes harder. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 86, widowed, and lives in a small house filled with photographs and quiet. When her husband passed, she stopped gardening. She stopped baking. For a while, she even stopped getting dressed before noon. Then one morning, her neighbor left a note in her mailbox. Would you teach my daughter how to sew? That note changed everything. Dorothy began preparing lessons, gathering fabric, writing down her favorite patterns. Suddenly, she had a reason to get up again. Not because someone told her to, but because someone needed her. You don't have to save the world. Your reason can be as simple as watering your plants, calling your grandson, reading one new book each week, or feeding the birds at dawn. It's not about the size of the purpose, it's about its presence. Having a reason to rise gives rhythm to your days and resilience to your spirit. It adds color back into your life. Purpose isn't just for the young. In fact, the older we get, the deeper our wisdom, the more valuable our presence becomes if we allow ourselves to believe it. If you're feeling adrift, start small. Ask yourself, what gave me joy when I was younger? What skill do I still have to share? What unfinished project calls my name? Who in my life could use a little more of me? Write your reason down. Post it by your bedside. And every morning, when your eyes open, let that purpose pull you up, not just physically, but emotionally. Because the greatest act of defiance against aging is to still care deeply and deliberately. Getting up from the floor shows physical strength. Getting up every morning with purpose, that shows the strength of the soul. Now it's your turn. You've just learned 5 powerful indicators of longevity, 5 simple yet profound actions that reveal more than any lab test ever could. But knowledge alone won't change your life. Action will. So here's what I want you to do starting today. Choose one of these 5. Maybe it's walking for 10 minutes without stopping. Maybe it's standing on one leg for 10 seconds. Maybe it's just asking yourself, honestly, what gets me out of bed in the morning? Start there, start small, start consistently, then come back and share your experience with us in the comments. Which of these 5 actions challenged you the most? Which one are you already doing? What surprised you? What inspired you? When you share your journey, you don't just help yourself. You give courage to others who are walking the same road. And if you found value in this video, subscribe to our channel. We're building a community where age is not an ending, but an evolution. A place where strength is measured not only in steps and seconds, but in heart, hope, and the will to keep showing up. Because the real question isn't how old are you, it's how alive are you willing to be? Let's rise together.